Two Calgary gun shops are challenging Canada's recent firearms ban. The federal government banned 1,500 different kinds of weapons they described as military-grade assault-style firearms. This happened earlier this month. My next guest argues the ban's a huge overreach. J.R. Cox owns the Shooting Edge. He's part of the lawsuit. Good morning.
Good morning, David.
And thank you for joining us. Why are you fighting this firearms ban?
Well, there's so many elements as to why we're fighting this thing. And I think the first thing you have to remember is that this isn't about like firearms rights. This is about rights. So the first part of our claim is that this is just a huge overreach. Because if you read the narrative of the preamble to an order in council, because remember, an order in council is not legislative, it's administrative. So this is just the key members of the cabinet deciding something, signing off, and issuing a fiat, and it's law. So this is not generally how anything is done in Canada. You know, for something that's going to affect like hundreds of thousands of Canadians and will realistically cost, $1.5 to $2 billion in a time when we really don't have any extra money. The cupboards are pretty bare. For something that will have zero effect to the public safety. So we look at Bill Blair's report that he relied upon, and even in there it says this will not have a large effect on public safety because 85 to 99% of all the firearms used in Canada, and this is based on CBC reports, used in Canada in crimes, are smuggled from the U.S. Mm-hmm. So because all these guns from the U.S. are coming in, and so you're going to spend $2 billion to take my firearms away, but you're only going to spend $87 million over 5 years to actually increase the border security. Like, it's like, where are you spending the money? So that's the thing. The first thing is that we think it's huge overreach.
All right.
The second,
we'll get to the second thing, but obviously, you've got 15 pages of arguments, and we're not going to be able to go through them all here. But I want to talk about the issue of rights that you raised first and foremost. The right to do what exactly? I mean, I can still go buy a firearm. I can buy a hunting rifle. There's lots of firearms I can buy. What's the right that's being violated here in your mind?
Well, one thing is the right for private property, because when they banned, they wrapped this up and they said this was a ban of assault rifles. Well, assault rifles were actually banned in 1978. Mm-hmm. So everything that we could buy since then were just civilian copies. We haven't been able to buy machine guns. We can't buy military guns. And in this document that the OIC that they published, they wrapped and they linked civilian firearms with things like grenade launchers and missile systems, which again were also already protected and banned using the Controlled Goods Act. So they wrapped up and they tried to link the firearms that we use. And if you talk about, you say assault style firearms, that's only a small portion of this ban. This ban also took out so many sporting, purely hunting rifles. It has affected shotguns, 12 gauge, 10 gauge, 8 gauge shotguns. And even though Bill Blair says, oh, that wasn't the intent and it doesn't cover it, if you use the RCMP's own guidelines on how to measure 20 millimeter bores, most shotguns actually are prohibited by this order as well. Mm-hmm. And now we have word coming from the RCMP that are looking at the 10,000 joule ruling that they have as part of this ban, and they're looking at a lot of hunting calibers, and now they're saying that if some rifles can be rebarreled to those calibers. So what's going to happen is that we're seeing this slope. So the OIC came out, they banned a lot of my own personal private property. They basically put 3 gun manufacturers in Canada out of business, boom, with no warning, because our private property and our right to pursue these things. Why, in Canada, we're supposed to have the right to pursue our hobbies and have due process. Mm-hmm. And we haven't had that. There's zero due process.
So let me ask this question. You've got a business interest in this. I respect that. And you are representing what I'm sure you define as a gun sporting community, for lack of a better phrase, who also have an interest in owning these weapons. But the question I hear time and again from those who don't understand your arguments is pretty blunt and pretty straightforward. They say, why does anyone need these guns? How do you answer that question?
Well, that's easy. Things that are uneducated, so they don't know what guns they're talking about. When everybody, like I said, when they talk about assault weapons, well, we haven't had those, and we don't have those. We have magazine restrictions. Like, we don't have things that fire fast, and we use these in a very safe manner.
To be fair, some of those can be modified and modified easily with watching something on YouTube, right? So
sure.
let's not underplay the effect of some of these weapons.
I'm not. Firearms are dangerous, just like Hilti tool guns are dangerous. Forklifts are dangerous. Like, there is an inherent danger in most things, especially most adult pursuits. There is some danger, and I'm not saying that there isn't. And that's how we deal with it. So we mitigate that with training and with licensing. We do that. But when you talk about why do we need these, the thing is, when you talk about this OIC, you can take the word gun out of this OIC. Take the word firearm out. Now let's insert the word fast motorcycle. Let's insert the word marijuana. Like, if you're going to affect hundreds of thousands of Canadians, you should actually take this to Parliament.
Well, and I appreciate the point you're making, but marijuana was banned until basically public opinion changed and went through a political process and it became legalized. What's happened in your world is the reverse. And I ask that because the argument is, should the need of hobbyists really trump the right of Canadians who don't feel safe with these weapons out there? That's the question.
Okay, but if we're talking about this, and you're saying that we're going to base these things too, like, we have to base our decisions on statistics, on knowledge, like, not on fear and not on emotion. Mm-hmm. So let's look at the numbers. How many AR-15s of these assault-style firearms that everybody refers to have been used to commit any deaths in Canada since 1978? Since they were moved from prohibited to restricted, since 1978, there are 0 deaths with AR-15s in Canada. 0. So why is there an imminent threat to society when there's 0 threats?
Well, and you make a good point, but you add the words "in Canada," and I think perhaps this whole conversation is being swayed by what's happening south of the border. Do you recognize that as part of the issue?
Oh, I do. But the same thing is that, but we should be making laws about what's best for Canadians, not about what's going on. I mean, right now in the States, they're burning police stations to the ground. I can't fathom that happening here. So we shouldn't be reacting to what the U.S. is doing because we are a different society and a different culture. Right?
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just sorry, for sake of time, we're going to have to wrap up, but I will follow this case with interest as it heads towards the courts, and I want to thank you very much for joining us this morning to talk about it.
Thank you, David.
That's J.R. Cox. He's the owner of the Shooting Edge, one of the Calgary gun shops, launching a court challenge against the federal assault-style firearms ban.